Classy Climb blog, coming to you on a Love It, Leave It Sunday. I hope you guys have been waiting in chat patiently. If you've been here for about 5 minutes, drop a 1 in the comments so I know how long you've been waiting. I thank you for your time. One, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ericka Williams, author of The Smartphone Millionaire, How to Invest in People, Businesses, and Real Estate from the Palm of Your Hand. I'm a 6-figure YouTuber who's managing $2.1 million in assets, the best I daggone can. And today I want to talk to you about New York. Many of you think I have a hatred for New York, a hatred for California, and it's not true at all. I definitely want to go to New York and see the Christmas tree. Everybody tells me it's a tourist trap. I still want to see it. I definitely want to go see a play on Broadway. These are cultural things, not the politics of the city, not the smell. I mean, I've been a couple times as a kid. It smelled like pee from what I can remember, y'all. I mean, that's all I remember is really high trash and pee smell. I want you to understand that this economically, if you're in the downwind of New York, is important. There's a reason I'm doing these videos. A lot of people say, where's the opportunity? Where's the growth? Oh my God, we're in a recession. Right now, I'm in several masterminds and I'm about 8 different investment clubs outside my own, where people are literally already betting on the projection of movement out of New York and the projection of the movement out of LA. Now, look, I've had friends who in the past 7 years, I think Lewis moved in 7 years ago, moved to LA because he wanted to work in film and that's where film was. But we were in North Carolina. And North Carolina had film credits. He could have worked on film all those years. He just didn't because he went to that city for that particular thing. New York, you go, New York, to go, honestly, some people do a lot of acting there. There's a lot of financial markets. Many of you get very aggressive with me in the comments when I talk about how every financial market you think that's in New York, they have satellite offices in Texas. They have satellite offices in Miami. Because those are international cities. Houston, whether you like it or not, is an international city with international money. If New York was to blow up today, which God forbid, we never want that to happen, that's horrible. London would pick up the slack, right? London's also a financial mecca. New York and London interchange between position 1 and position 2 often in the world. But here's the thing, with all that opportunity comes high costs and high taxes. And depending on who you have in office, you lose 100,000 millionaires, your city and your stuff is changing abruptly. Now, there's something I didn't add on that this article doesn't talk about because a lot of people hate the guy who wrote the article. There is a wave of retirements coming through the NYPD. There's a wave of retirements going through Minnesota PD right now. There is a wave of retirements going through most major cities where the police are like, give me my pension, I'm out. When you have an influx of people leaving, cutting police budgets, like right now, Austin just cut 150 million from our police in a city where we have 150 people moving a day, and there is a calm of Austin, very calm, but there's a lot of opportunity crime, of course, people break into cars and do such. As I speak right now in Cedar Park, there are 2 police officers that got shot in a hostage situation. You may say, well, Ericka, that's a small city. New York's so big. Listen, numbers matter. Men lie, women lie. Numbers don't lie. There's a domino effect that happens when these things trigger a chain of events, right? Many people said New York's going to be like Las Vegas. You go to see it, but you don't go to live there. You go hang out the weekend there, but you don't stay. And that's been New York for many years for most people. They go to Broadway, they go see the Christmas tree, they go see, unfortunately, 9/11 memorial location. They go see these things, but they don't plan on moving to New York. No, they don't plan on moving to New York, okay? Now, I'm gonna read some from the article that everybody is like, Ericka, it matters. Context matters, okay? Now you can go check this out either on LinkedIn. It went viral. You can check it out several places, but it is called NYC is Dead Forever. James Altouch, someone can, correct me on his name. And he put this out August 13th. It went viral, lots of love, hate. And it also came off the back of the New York mayor basically begging wealthy people, please don't go. Please don't go. Come back. Now, if you have not paid attention to your closest neighbor in New Jersey and a couple other states, in New Jersey, when one millionaire, almost a billionaire, decided he would leave if they increased the taxes, and the city was like, we're going to increase these taxes. He left New Jersey. He took all his companies with him and he left to Florida. They literally had to reduce, from one man leaving, the budget by $100 million. Listen to me again. When New Jersey decided they're going to keep raising taxes, which that's a big issue in New Jersey, raising taxes, cheap prices but high taxes. One millionaire, just one, said, all right, guys, I'm out. I will no longer live here. I told you, if you raise these taxes again, I will leave. He left. They had to have an emergency meeting to redo the budget for the whole entire state. I just want you to understand that. You had to call in everybody in Congress in their pajamas. Get y'all butt back up here. We now have to slash $100 million from the budget. Now, New York, we already know, is in a $9 billion deficit. I will go double check that number, but it's massive. Okay, absolutely massive. You can't. The magnitude of what I'm saying is, makes people say, well, there are plenty of businesses and economic engines in New York, so that bill will get paid. It won't. It won't. Now, back to James's article. He talks about how he loves the NYC. He loved the subculture. And everyone always says NYC always bounces back. He said, not this time. NYC is the center of the financial universe. Opportunities will flourish here again. Not this time. Now, this guy, now listen, if you want to put your finger on the pulse, and I'll say this very clearly, if you want to make a bunch of money right now, and I'm going to talk about this more in my Rise of 20% class, go make a Facebook group. You will be in touch with money circulating in there. Now, first things first, he says, a Facebook group formed a few weeks ago. It was for people who were planning to move and wanted others to talk to and ask advice from. Within 2 to 3 days, it had about 10,000 members. Listen to me again. In 2 to 3 days on Facebook, it had 10,000 members. So imagine an additional 30,000 people looking for the same answer, but didn't join the group. This is a big number, y'all. I know everybody's like, that doesn't matter. It does. Anyways, the 3 most important reasons to move to NYC: business opportunities, culture, food. And he says, of course, friends. Now, that's where you move for any city, right? I moved from North Carolina. Not that North Carolina wasn't rich in opportunity. For me, I flipped the coin, and the coin either said Nashville, Tennessee, or Austin, Texas. My third fallback was Charlotte, North Carolina. When I left to Austin at the same time, Nashville, Charlotte, Raleigh, and Austin began to boom. It was a 7-year trajectory of just absolute massive growth. Every time I would go home to North Carolina or Charlotte, I'd go, holy crap, I have to start really from fresh when I got here anyway. So anyways, you move for opportunity and the environment. Okay, so business, Midtown Manhattan, the center of business in NYC, is empty. Even though people can go back to work, famous buildings like Time Life skyscraper is 90% empty. Businesses realize they don't need their employees at the office. In fact, they realize that even more productive without everyone back at the office. The Time Life building can handle 8,000 workers. It now maybe has 500. Now, many people say, oh, Ericka, so that don't matter. I don't mean nothing. It does. Why? Because those 8,000 workers are parking, are getting transportation to that building, are eating at the surrounding restaurants around that building, eating in the cafeteria inside the building, most likely. That those people, let's just say daily, they put $20 in the economy. 8,000 people times $20 is what, y'all? Gonna get my handy dandy calculator out. Get my little coffee on over here. Cause we're gonna bust it out. Cause I think y'all, you're oh, Ericka, you don't know what you're talking about. You ain't from New York, New York, New York. Y'all make fun of Texas, how proud Texans are of Texas. New York's top Texas at any day. All right, so that's $160,000 a day. We're just doing a hypothetical here. 8,000 people work in that building, and every single one of them spends just $20 a day on surrounding food, restaurants, delivery, whatever. That's $160,000 a day with just one building. Let's do a hypothetical that there's 50 buildings like that are empty. That's $8 million in one day. Now, of course, these are very high numbers, but I just want to get you to understand the domino effect and the velocity of money. In order for centers to survive, money has to flow. If there's a movie with J-Lo where she's a stripper in it, I don't know if anybody's seen that movie, but this is the best example I can think of. When they got hit with the financial crisis, strippers had to go get real jobs. It was dead on the street. Nobody was throwing money in the air. This is exactly that same scenario. Of course, it provides a picture of Midtown, and it looks very dead. Someone said Midtown should be called Ghost Town. He asked his friend, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I'm packing it up. I'm shutting it down." He works in the entertainment industry. Another friend works in major investment banking as a managing director. Before the pandemic, he was at the office every day, sometimes 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Now he lives in Phoenix, Arizona. As of June, he told me, "I have never ever been to Phoenix." And then he moved there. He does all his meetings on Zoom. Talking to a book editor. Talking to Derek Halpin, which I love Derek Halpin. Let me be very clear. Derek Halpin is so New York. He's New York, New York. Anyway, he put something on Facebook. And again, Aisha and several people were like, "Well, it's Facebook, Ericka." Facebook has a pulse of people, daily lives, that Twitter doesn't have, that YouTube doesn't have. Facebook has a whole pulse of people, that family and kids in a certain age range, that are very telling. Hence, you can hop on Facebook, make Facebook groups, and make a lot of money. Anyway, he talks about the violence of a homeless person on the street, talks about people panhandling for money. You give them food, they throw it back in your face. Watched a man charge people, attack people. He said, "I've been living in New York City for 10 years, and it's definitely got worse with no end in sight. My favorite park is Madison Square Park. About a month ago, a 19-year-old girl was shot and killed across the street." I don't think I have an answer, but I do think it's clear. It's time to move out of NYC. Now, he talks a bunch more here, saying the rent has plummeted by 30%. More people are moving away more than ever. It's not goodbye yet, but a long life New Yorker is thinking about it. Now, many people say, "Well, Ericka, only losers and broke people are moving." Okay, nobody of value is moving, and this is false. This is completely false. Florida has been putting ads on the TV in business-minded areas, have been running ads on the internet. Real estate agents from Florida are running ads on the internet because they want business owners. They're not asking for Big Booty Betty with her 2 kids to come down to Florida. They didn't ask Betty. Betty's already in Charlotte right now living with somebody, okay? They're asking for Bill, who owns the company. They're asking for Jerome, who has a startup and needs it to be cheaper. If you don't believe me, New York started a series of commercials for the past 3 years that run and says, "Hey, if you come move to New York and move your company to New York, we'll let you be tax-free for 10 years. Why are they doing that? It's New York. I mean, who needs ads for that? Because that's how bad it is. That's how bad it is that New York has to run ads and give incentives to companies to start a business for 10 years. In my mind, the first thing I'm thinking is, if I would lived in New York my whole life and you're paying someone to move here and pay no taxes for 10 years, I'd be pissed. Pay your actual citizens that. But again, it's a sham. You're going to be there for 10 years. By the time your business really makes money, they'll be taxing you to death. So let me see. And of course, people always say New York always comes back. It's been through worse. You know, bad things have happened. Again, they show pictures, of course, of Harlem. So disrespectful. In the 1970s, 1980s, when NYC was going bankrupt. In case some of you forgot, some of you have short-term memory. Even when it was a crime capital of the United States or close to it, this began the career of Rudy Giuliani. It was still the capital of business world, meaning it was the primary place for young people who would go build wealth and find an opportunity. It was culturally on top of the game, home to artists, theater, media, advertising, publishing, and probably the food capital of the United States. And the pictures are quite sad. I mean, I've seen pictures of New York in the 70s and Harlem. It's just dirty streets, is what it looks like. Okay, in the 70s, New York was locked down for 5 months. 5 months. It has never, I'm sorry, excuse me. New York has never been locked down for 5 months. Not in any pandemic, any war, any financial crisis. Never, 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 never. In the middle of the polio epidemic, when little kids, including my mother, the guy in the article, were going paralyzed or dying, New York didn't go through this. They didn't close it down. They didn't lock it down. And his mother ended up with a bad leg from polio. So anyway, he said, I'm not saying whether we should have done it or should not have done it. That part is over. We now have to deal with what is. In early March, people left NYC, right, to escape the virus and no longer needed to go to work, and all the restaurants were closed. People figured a month or two, it'll be done. They're still all gone. Then in June, rioting, another wave of New Yorkers left, and that time included him. I have kids. Nothing is wrong with the protest, but I was a little nervous when I saw videos of rioters after curfew trying to break into my building. Many people have left temporarily, but were also people leaving permanently. Friends of mine moved to Nashville, Miami, Austin, Denver, Salt Lake City, Dallas. I'm done. Proving my point again. Again, there's a graph inside Redfin. Very beautiful graph. I would love to show it to you, but I can't. Okay, it's a very beautiful graph. The graph says, which I may be able to. Hold on a second. Let's share this. This would be great. Let's see if I can do it. And thank y'all for all the comments. Make sure you hit a 1 in the comments. We have 367 people here. I think I will be able to share my screen. Let's see if it's possible. Oh, I think I may be able to. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? No, yeah? Ha! Put a 1 in the comments if you're seeing what I'm seeing. Put a 1 in the comments. Put a 1 in the comments. Y'all better put them 1s in the comments so I know to keep going. Okay. All right. All right. 370 people here right now. Y'all, come on now. There's 32 likes. Hold on. I'm going to check the likes again because I said, I just know my people didn't leave me hanging like that. They ain't got me on the show like this. There's 375 people here and there is 124 likes. A little bit better, still terrible. All right. So everybody can see the screen. This is wonderful. Okay. This is what I need y'all to be able to see. All right. As you see, 10% of you raggedy New Yorkers have gone to Atlanta. And I love it because Atlanta cries every day and I don't even care. 9% of you gone to Philadelphia, which surprises me, but it doesn't because we had a boat. Cam on the boat said he was moving to Philly. I thought Philly, but again, it's in the downward projection from New York. This is one of the best graphs you probably should ever see about people leaving New York. Share it with your friends. Share it with whoever. 9% with Philly. So y'all going ahead and taking over Philly. So when I go to Philly, I better hear some New York accents, okay? And again, let's just be very clear. Percentage of New York Redfin users searching in New York is 63%, 64.3%. That means 64% of people are in New York City right now looking like. When you go on Redfin, almost 70% of the people are from New York looking to get the hell out of New York. 35% are from everywhere else. Redfin should invest in commercials in New York right now. Anyway, 6.7% are moving to Washington, D.C., another expensive city. 6% are moving to Miami, Florida. Hey. Boston, Massachusetts, I'm killing it. Los Angeles, California, only 4%, huh? You guys talk all that big crap about New York and California being the only big city states. Somehow you got going there. Charlotte, North Carolina, 4%. Y'all already came and took over Charlotte. More of y'all coming to Charlotte? Can Charlotte breathe? 3.9% going to Nashville. And Bay Area, 3.6% going to the Bay Area. That's interesting. And then a 3.4% going to Raleigh, North Carolina. See, You know, y'all talk smack about your North Carolina cousins and then you run to the country. Welcome, New Yorkers. We welcome you in North Carolina with open arms and shut mouths. Please shut your mouths. Okay, so now, as we go up, everybody have looked at that paper. Everybody see that? You see the trajectory of the from down. They go Boston, right? They go Boston, okay, and then they go Nashville, Atlanta, the Carolinas, Miami, there you go. All right, so I'm gonna scroll up. Now a third wave of people are leaving, but they might be too late. Prices are down 30 to 50% on both rentals and sales, no matter what real estate persons tell you. And rentals are soaring in second and third tier cities. Let me tell you this. Once I'm done with this Texas Ground Zero, once we get this bad boy and start rolling and everything starts going what I need to go so I can take care of all my investors and all my private capital investors who've ever invested with me, honey, there are some cities on the map. But we'll talk about that another time. All right. South Florida is very in now. He got in his place sight unseen. She called the real estate agent. Place number 1, just rent it this morning, 50% higher than the asking price. Place number 2, also rented by New Yorkers. Good Lord. And place number 3 was available. He said he'd take it without even looking at it. Summary, businesses are remote and aren't returning to the office. This is a death spiral. The longer offices remain empty, the longer they will remain empty. In 2005, a hedge fund manager was visiting my office and said, in Manhattan, you practically trip over opportunities in the street. And this is what I feel about parts of Texas. When I'm in Houston, Houston's too daggone big, but it's opportunities all over that bad boy. Yes, there are homeless in Houston. I see homeless, but if you really, really want to go to Houston and make money, honey, it's there. And live in a cheap house, it's there. You're not going to live in First Ward. You're not going to live downtown, but you can live all around Houston and make plenty of money, right? It's very much there. Sorry, you guys. I had somebody go check on something. And of course, it's a red truck. See if you see a red truck in that neighborhood near there. Y'all, I don't want to call the police, but anyway. All right. Now the streets are empty. So that was the conclusion of the business part of New York. I will look at some of y'all comments. I didn't mean to ignore you, but I really want to get through this article since people were saying that I was being dramatic. And I'm like, I just want to get it from the horse's mouth. I want you guys to get it from New Yorkers. I want you to see Redfin maps. I want you to see data where 70% of people are not renewing their leases in Manhattan. I want you to see there's 13,000 empty units. And even though people are like, Ericka, New York, New York, New York, we always bounce back. Okay, but you're not listening. And we got more. We got more. Hold on. There's more to this article. The Southwest is the best side. Raleigh-Durham is the best place to live. Facts. Let me tell you something. I had one of my drivers say, they're killing people in Durham. I got to get my son from there. There's no opportunities. And this is the stuff I'm hearing from actual Black people when I'm like, there's 10 colleges in a circle. There's jobs hiring people. I had a friend in his late 30s, what people would call a late bloomer. No problem. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. He's just a late bloomer. He was taking care of his elderly parents for a while. He went up there to Durham, got a job in a 2-week period. 2 weeks at a startup, getting paid like $50K a year. Never made $50K a year in his life. And they're like, hey, as long as you're studying and get your certifications, we'll keep bumping you up in pay. It's important. Trav, the people that are leaving are lifelong New Yorkers. I know y'all keep saying it's transplants, but everybody that they keep talking about in these articles are lifelong New Yorkers. But anyway. Minnie Boo said the New York accent is not exactly feminine sounding. Accent for women, it's a bit rough. This guy said He saw this beautiful woman on the train, and then she started talking like a Ninja Turtle. I don't know if you remember Raphael from the movies, but it's super funny. This isn't a video bashing NYC. This is a video talking about the opportunities that are in other states. If you're a real estate agent in any of these cities I just showed you on the map, it's a perfect time for you to make money. Now, here's where I want you to understand. We have a thing where we're in our feelings on Facebook and YouTube. Oh, you're bashing women, you're bashing men, you're bashing Black people, you're bashing New York. No, if you never identify the problem, you can never create a solution. It's like the frog in the boiling water. You put the frog in the cold water and slowly raise the temperature. This is the same thing that happened in a lot of Black communities. By the time you hear someone yelling about gentrification, it's kind of too late. They are already priced out of the market of purchasing homes in a neighborhood that they could have been making a ton of money off of because they've always lived there. Now, let me clarify when I say that. 9 times out of 10, when people are complaining about gentrification, they're complaining about it from the perspective of renting. And you talk to them about why did they buy a house there? Oh, it's a terrible neighborhood. But you've been renting here for 15 years. You've been living in the hood all these years. All that money could have been in a home. You weren't going nowhere till they made you pay more rent. Okay, are we on the same page, everybody? Are we on the same page? Okay, this is an opportunity if you pay attention and actually identify that there is a problem in New York and California. If you're a real estate agent right now, let me put it this way. The real estate agents I used to know in Charlotte and Raleigh, I can't even talk to them no more. They got whole offices. They got staff. They're like, oh yeah, Ericka from college. Oh, hey girl, but I'm busy, bye. Like they're making money off what we call halfbacks for the past 5 years. Those real estate agents, that's why I made the rise of 20%. Because I don't want to be here on YouTube trying to convince you where opportunity is. You should already be paying attention. The reason right now, it all ties in together. The reason why in Cleveland, Ohio, people are making hand over fist right now. It's almost tripled the number of sales that it used to have. And same thing in Detroit. It's because people in New York and California were looking for safe havens to put their money to get returns. Okay, it all ties in. When I was in Detroit, the first 3 times, every time I was there, who was I bumping into and who was I having conversations with? New Yorkers. There was a couple there that was coming from California, moving to a upper north, not Detroit, but an upper north area of Michigan. And they were investing in 5-10 rentals from the sale of their California property and California rental. So it all ties in together because this money moves. Money has velocity and it moves. And I want you to put yourself in the circulation of money. I don't want you to wake up and be like, what happened? Oh my God, what happened? What happened is you weren't paying attention. You were too busy in your feelings that someone was bashing your baby of New York than you actually listening to what the opportunities are. I just named you all those cities and states you can have opportunity in. Even right now, if you go to Atlanta, there is a place called BKE Express, Brooklyn something Expressway. Someone correct me if you're from Atlanta. You know it's a really great nightclub and they play all the jams. But it's New Yorkers opened it up. Anyway, I'm gonna go on next part. People gonna be in their feelings and then get over it. Anyways, C Jazz, this is CZ said, right now I don't have the headset on. Don't worry, I won't be doing many lives anymore. I'm going on sabbatical. So you guys can just watch pre-recorded videos. All right. I know plenty of New Yorkers who moved away and eventually moved back because they miss city, friends, family, culture. Listen, the IRS already showed you that 88% of all people live within 1 hour of their mother. Because it's your mother. Because it's your mama. It's your mama. So, of course, some people are going to move back because family is important. Yes, New Yorkers are very sensitive. They're more sensitive than Texans. Thank you. Too late, Apple Mac. They're coming to Atlanta. Philadelphia was nicer than New York to me. Interesting. Oh yes, this is what's going to happen, you guys. And I'm going to do a video on it. Did you hear about California possibly taxing people if they live in Cali if they leave Cali if they lived in Cali the past 10 years, this is how bad a city and a state is run, that they pretty much are like, how can I go, and AM1 should be on this, okay? That we have to go find taxes from people who have already left. Now, prime example of who this is, think of who you can think of, Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone and many other business owners that left. Tesla, that's a big one. Raggedy, 10% go back to NYC. Philly, you can have a gun. That's why, hey, didn't even think about that like that. Okay, pew, 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 pew. There's 427 people here in the chat. I'm sorry that the echoing is bouncing off the walls, but that's just what we have to deal with today. Thank you for dealing with it. Okay. What about Little Booty Lisa? Little Booty Lisa is upset because she can't go to yoga class right now, and that's okay. We respect all booties here. This is an equal booty opportunity basher. Carolinas are going to be New York and Ohio. I know. I already told you guys, when I was in the hospital in North Carolina, every single person in there was either African or from Ohio. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Y'all got some interesting commentary up in here. Okay, let's see. So can y'all see the screen? Culture. I co-own a comedy club, which I think is, you know, what's y'all thoughts on that? I mean, I feel like owning a comedy club. Okay. So anyway, he talks about co-owning it with this guy. You got the Fonz. You see him? Okay. I'm not going to read deeply from this. Anyway, he's saying, forget about all the 1,000 jobs lost in cultural centers. This is important because most people move to New York. They want to be actors. What's the guy that's on that show with, gosh, I don't know, I already forgot it. It's from Saturday Night Live. The girl who wrote Saturday Night Live is a writer on there. That's why he moved from North Carolina to Broadway, to try to get on Broadway. So Broadway is closed at least in spring. Lincoln Center is closed. All the museums are closed. And thousands of performers, producers, artists, and the entire ecosystem of art, theater, production, curation that surrounds these cultural centers. People who have worked all their lives for the right to be able to perform even once on Broadway, whose lives and careers have been put on hold. I get it. There's a pandemic. But now is what happens. Given the uncertainty, given the fact that people, cities, economies loathe uncertainty, we simply don't know the answer, and that's a bad thing for New York City. Right now, Broadway is closed at least until 2021, and then there's supposed to be a series of rolling dates by which it will reopen. Look at that part right there, you guys. Hold on one second. Hey, this is Ericka. Hey, yeah, I sent him by to go take a picture so we can get the driver to the right location, but the accident is no truck. Can you give me a picture of the truck so that I can make sure someone can show you that truck? Yeah, that's fine. No, the guy I'm flying into Atlanta, he's flying from Tuesday. So I need to like make sure that picture and put ahead of take care of it. I just want to make sure it is open. You can drop a pin. For sure. Okay, we'll touch base on it. I'll let you know when it gets closer. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. All right, sorry you guys. Listen, sometimes these people, they clearly want me to put abandonment on their MVRs. And when I threaten to do that, all of a sudden, hey, no, Miss Ericka, let me call you right back. I'm right here. It's right here. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. Okay, you guys, this right here. This right here. I need more assistance. I need more people. Do you see what I'm dealing with here? Do you see what I'm dealing with? Boy, I tell you, good gracious. Thank you, Dignity Exploring Human Rights in Daily Life. Y'all, these people gonna make me act out of my nature, is what I want to say. All right, anyway, part of what I was finishing up is 25% capacity. Shows cannot survive on that. And will performers, writers, producers, investors, lenders, stagehands, landlords wait a year? Same for the museums in Lincoln Center and the thousands of cultural reasons millions come to New York every single year. The hot dog stand outside of Lincoln Center, finished, okay? The food. For those of you who think New York has amazing food, this is your time to shine, baby. My favorite food restaurant is gone for good. Okay, let me go to my second favorite. Also closed. My third favorite, also closed for good. I thought the PPP was supposed to help. What about emergency relief? No. Stimulus checks, unemployment? No. My fourth favorite, or what about that place I always order delivery from? No, no. So basically everywhere he eats is closed. He talks about how before the pandemic, the average restaurant had only 16 days of cash on hand. Some had more, McDonald's, and some had less, local mom and pop Greek diner. Yelp estimates that 60% around the restaurant in the United States have closed. Now, let me push a little bit back against that. I actually go to several local, I'm very big shop local restaurants, like not chains, restaurants here in Austin. And a lot of them basically said that Yelp made them pay money to say they were open. And if they didn't say they were open with Uber, DoorDash, all that stuff, Yelp and a lot of Google kept saying they were closed. So when we would come to this one restaurant, the owner asked us to check in on Facebook and also post a review so he could combat against not having to pay money to tell Google to tell he's open. Okay. So I think there's some high numbers, maybe 50%. I won't lie. High numbers of restaurants that are closed, may close for good, but there is a certain number too of restaurants that are in this weird half open, half closed kind of phase, like there is in Austin, some of them in Austin. My guess, more than 60% will close in New York, but who knows? Someone said, well, people want to come in now and start their own restaurants. There's less competition. This guy says, I don't think you understand how restaurants work. Restaurants want other restaurants nearby. That's why there's one street on Manhattan. Look at this right here. Look at this. It's called Restaurant Row. It's all restaurants. That's why there's another street called Little India and another one called Koreatown. This is the same thing in a video I have coming up next week, where I was in Katy, Texas, and I was over off the expressway. I forgot the name of that street, but there was H Mart in Katy, Texas, and then there was like 4 or 5 plazas, all Asian food, bubble tea, Chinese food, Chinese barbecue, Vietnamese food, all the Asian food you can think of, Thai food, all in one little area. It was like a Chinatown, Koreatown, all together. Packed. Every parking lot was packed. When I went to go park, I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. People like to go, if you're a husband or wife team and you take your husband with you to eat at this restaurant and it's full and you got to wait an hour and he looking at you like, I'm not waiting no hour. So then you're going to just pick another restaurant in close proximity. I've seen this happen. I've been in groups where we all had to go eat somewhere else because somebody couldn't wait. And this is the point of having restaurants in proximity. Nobody wants to go to a restaurant in the middle of nowhere. It's even hard here in Texas for food trucks to survive in the middle of where there's no other food trucks. The key is always to have 2, 3, 4 food trucks. Hence, if you came to my boat party, Texas Ground Zero, we'll have 3 to 4 food trucks at any given time, because guess what? You'll pull in locals, you'll pull in other people. It's a lot of opportunity that way. Okay. Y'all like Restaurant Row? This person said, Bonita, bonita. Restaurant Row is the top of my block. People eat in the streets where doctors won't. Where doctors won't? Okay. Meanwhile, restaurants are open in Charlotte. This is true. Healthy competition. That's right. Expat said Restaurant Row has to be dead. I'm not certain. Gabrielle Lemon, this is true. Yelp and Google are like food mafia. Like, you have to pay money now to show. Skynet. Big Patmo, where you from? Listen, might need me some goons. Might have to hire me some. Stone Mountain, LTL, Lithuania. Yeah. Each his own, I'm still leaving. DC used to be known as the Queen City. I know, and Charlotte is originally the Queen City. So just gonna say that, just gonna put it out there. You know, ZZ, I would believe that here's my problem, ZZ, with the fact that everybody's like, oh, young people will just move to New York. No. You have too many in the hipster minimalistic movement. I'm going to move to Nashville. I'm going to move to Charlotte. I'm going to move to Midtown Atlanta. I'm going to live in a little 500 square foot apartment with granite countertops and live my dream or start my startup. They'll move to cheaper cities where it's possible. Why did you have all these young frat guys going to Vietnam and Thailand for 2 to 3 years, which, let's be really honest, that whole travel movement lasts about 2 to 5 years. Majority of those travel channels, if you go check them out, which I made a little list with me and my friends, they've all moved back home. Well, that's why a lot of the travel conferences, when you go to them, they now just talk about credit and using the points for credit because they don't even live over there no more. But that's a whole conversation for another day. People are going to move where it's cheapest and most beneficial. The restaurants are open. The museums are opening. Awesome. San Diego County is nice. So anyway, yeah, I'm still doing business. I apologize. Anyway, y'all already know the dreaded D, commercial real estate. If building owners and landlords lose their prime tenants, the storefronts on the bottom floor, the offices on the middle floors, and the well-to-do on the top floors, then they can go out of business. And what actually happens when they go out of business? Nothing happens, and that's the bad news. People who have rented or bought said, everyone is saying New York is heading back to the 70s. So even though the prices might be 50% lower than they were a year ago, I think I'll wait a bit more. Better safe than sorry. And then with everyone waiting, prices go down. So people see prices go down. They say, good thing I waited. But what happens if I wait even more? And they wait and wait. And this is called the deflationary spiral. People wait, prices go down. Nobody really wins because the landowners or owners go broke. Less money gets spent in the city. Less money gets spent in the city. Nobody moves in, so there's no motion in the markets. And people already owning in the area can afford to hang on. Have to wait longer for returns of restaurant services, etc. they were used to. Well, will the prices go down long enough for everybody to buy? Answer, maybe, maybe not. Some people can afford to hang on, but not everyone can afford to sell. So they wait. Others will go bankrupt. There will be litigation, which create other problems for real estate in that area. And the big borrowers and lenders need a bailout of some sort or face mass bankruptcy. Thoughts on that, you guys? Thoughts on that? Share me your thoughts on that because, I mean, thank you, Vic Shepard, for the $2 super chat. This is called Hey Dewey. Hold on, I'm just going to pull it up here. Hey Dewey. Indiana is opening up AMC here in late August. They're selling tickets for 15 cents. I believe that. Thank you, Goddess. Noel, I'm not disputing facts, but for me, every 20 or so years, there's a great migration. First, it was south to north, then north to south. It's cyclical. Possible. I see, and I'm also going down to Miami to Grant's Cardone real estate thing coming up here pretty soon in September. A lot of the people there, that's all they're trying to figure out is how to monopolize the South. Y'all are so silly. Pancake Patty and flat ass Becky. Y'all so stupid. I feel the future is Atlanta, Austin, Dallas, Houston, Charlotte, Nashville. Don't even feel it. It's the truth. Every Forbes magazine, every business is strategizing to get into those two. Listen, it's all good. I can make fun of New York, you guys. It's all good. There's 409 people, 416 people watching. And 224 likes. You know, come on, y'all, give it the like. Crime is skyrocketing in New York. The people that live there will be leaving in drones. East St. Louis, whoo, it's a little dangerous there too. Sky said, I just left New York 3 years ago. That's interesting. Okay. But my thoughts on that is, again, it is a spiral. If everybody keeps waiting, like, it's going to get cheaper. Do you know how many people from the last recession told me they were waiting till the houses get cheaper? In 2008, when you could get a house in Charlotte for $25,000, that used to be $50,000, it just, countrywide, just killed the city. Those same people aren't in the house now. There's a segment of our population that thinks they're going to get some great investment if they keep waiting, and they won't. But anyways, that's my 2 cents on it. And honestly, you guys have the best setup. Even in New Jersey, I remember talking on the phone to several New York clients who were always trying to get me to help them find a connection in New Jersey where they could get a business on the bottom, housing on the top, because that's what they do in New York. And I'm like, yeah, but you're going to a new place. So a new place might not do that. Ericka said, Ericka Nicole said, selling my Vegas property, moving back to Atlanta. Congrats. Y'all, somebody said accident safe. I agree. New York is over. Nothing but rats and 3,000 one-bedroom apartments. So much no. The Asian community, like I would say, like in Canada, you had over 80% of every single property purchased in Vancouver was a Chinese foreign national. So yeah, that was a really serious concentrated effort to buy up a city. Okay, on to the next part. Colleges. There's almost 600,000 college students spread out throughout New York City, from Columbia to NYC to, I don't know how to say that, Fordham and St. John's. Will they require remote learning? Will kids be on the campus? It turns out a little bit of both. Some colleges are waiting a semester to decide. Some are half and half. Some are optional. But we know this. There is uncertainty and there's a hybrid. I don't know any college fully coming back right now. That's okay. You might say in a semester or two, it'll be fine. This is a very beautiful, oh, this is Columbia University. This is beautiful. This whole little walkway and architecture and the city in the backdrop, that is amazing. That's beautiful, you guys. Anyway, back to focus. Not so fast. Let's just say 100,000 of those 600,000 don't return to school and decide to not rent an apartment in New York City. That's a lot of apartments that will go empty. That's a lot of landlords that will not be able to pay their bills. Many bought those student apartments as a way to make a living. So now it ripples back to the landlords, to the support staff, to the banks, to the professionals. In other words, we don't know, but it's going to be a lot worse before it gets a lot better. Someone said for him is for dumb. That's crazy. Okay. Okay, but NYC always comes back. Yes, it does. I live 3 blocks from ground zero on 9/11. Downtown where I live, it was destroyed, but it came roaring back within 2 years. Such sadness and hardship. And then quickly that area became the most attractive area in New York. Any of y'all agree with that? Let me know. In 2008, 2009, much suffering during the Great Recession. Again, much hardship, but things came roaring back. But this time it's different. You're never supposed to say it's this time it's true. It's different. I still don't benefit from saying any of this. I love New York City. I was born there. I lived there forever. I still live there. I love everything about New York City. I want 2019 back. One reason, bandwidth. In 2008, the average bandwidth speeds were 3 megabytes per second. That's not enough for a Zoom meeting with reliable video quality. Now it's over 20 megabytes per second. That's more than enough for high quality video. There's before and after. Before, no more remote work. After, everyone can remote work. Now, there's something I've noticed. You guys can let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. There's been a lot of lower video quality, I think, on the Zooms and some of the videos. And I think it's because everybody and their mom is home sucking up the internet. This is just a theory of mine, but for a while we kept having Zoom meetings with people and the quality would be just poop. Everybody see that graph? Can you see that graph? Okay. Basically, he said people have left New York City and moved completely into virtual worlds. The Time Life building doesn't need to fill it up again. Wall Street can stretch across every city, every street, instead of just being one building in Manhattan. Y'all, I'm about to. Okay. We are now officially in AB, which is after bandwidth. An entire history of NYC the world until we are now BB, before bandwidth. Remote learning, remote meetings, remote offices, remote performance, remote everything. That's what's different. Everyone has spent the 5 months adapting to a new lifestyle. Nobody wants to fly across the country for a 2-hour meeting that you can just do it well on Zoom. I can go see a live comedy on Zoom. I can take classes from the best teachers in the world for almost free online, as opposed to paying $70K a year for a limited number of teachers who may or may not be good. Everyone has choices now. You can live in a music capital of Nashville. You can live in the next Silicon Valley, Austin. You can live in your hometown in the middle of nowhere, middle of wherever. You can be just as productive, make high salary, and have high quality life with cheaper cost of living. Now, part of what I'm gonna say I agree with is I know two people who lived in Kansas City for 5 years, got offered jobs and to move to Seattle, Washington. One's for Amazon and one's for, what's that other company? Basically something a branch off from Jeff Bezos, whatever his name is. Anyway, and they both were, as soon as they got to Seattle, right when COVID hit, and they were like, okay, go home, everybody go home. They didn't even move in their apartment. As soon as they literally got in there 2 weeks good, they were like, hey, we need to break our lease because we don't know how long this is gonna last and we wanna be near family. They let them break the lease in Seattle. They've been back in Kansas City. They literally have jobs that pay them, I'm not gonna say double, but I'm gonna say one dude went from $60,000 to $90,000 a year, and his girlfriend, they're gonna get married supposedly, went up to another 20 grand. So they're making more money than ever, but living still in Kansas City, around family, around friends. Same thing. That's why Zuckerberg, they all knew it was coming. They were like, hey, if you leave from here, we're gonna drop that money because you don't need $190,000 to live in Kansas. You don't need it. It ain't happening. Okay. And this is why I think you're gonna have a lot more companies trying to see where you at? Where you at, baby? Show me where you at. But I do believe there's a difference in remote everything versus in person. Now, I just closed a business deal and it was like a series of death Zoom calls forever and ever and ever and ever. Like we're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, I'm like, just come to Austin in person. Just come here. Come here physically so we can stop the death Zooms. So we can talk in person and we can do business like people do business. There will still be a series of people when it comes to money. When it comes to over maybe $250,000, $500,000, or $1 million, you're going to see somebody in person. You're going to see somebody. I don't care if it's at the bank. I know when I was at the bank, they said you had to make an appointment. They were only taking people appointments who had major loans over $50,000. So you probably get a card for 20 and not have to come in. But everything else, you were coming in. There's a level of that will continue. Just my 2 cents. Anyway, he said, and what would make you come back? There won't be business opportunities for years. Businesses will move on. People will move on. It will be cheaper for businesses to function more remotely, and bandwidth is only getting faster. Wait for events and conferences and even meetings, maybe even office spaces to start happening in virtual realities once everyone is spread out from Midtown Manhattan all over the country. The quality of restaurants will go up in all 2nd and 3rd tier cities as talent and skill flows to places where they can quickly make use of them. First, I hate that. That is utterly disrespectful. Like there's no good chefs in Nashville till you bought yourself that. Boy, stop. Pause. We're not all mom and pop shops that don't know how to cook. That's disrespectful. Drivers, diners, and dimes goes all over the country because all over the country there's amazing chefs. But again, I digress. Ditto for cultural events. And then people will ask, wait a second, I was paying over 16% in state and income tax in other states and cities that, compared to other states and cities that have little to no tax, and I don't have to deal with all the other headaches of New York City, because there are headaches in NYC, lots of them. We just sweep them under the table because so much else has been good here. NYC is in a $9 billion deficit. Let me read that again. New York City is a $9 billion deficit. Okay, let me pull this up right here. $1 billion more than the mayor thought they were going to have. How did the city pay back its debts? The main way is aid from the state, but the state deficit just went bonkers. Then there's taxes. But if 900,000 estimated jobs are lost in New York City, tens of thousands of businesses, then that means less taxes unless taxes are raised. So let's just call it 1 million. I know that's a little high, but I'm gonna just say 1 million jobs are lost in New York. Okay. Now here is this $81 billion right here. Ooh, that's kind of high. Revenue sources. Sales tax. Okay. Ooh, look at that property tax. Ooh, honey. And again, New York loves saying we take less in federal aid than other places. What does that mean when you in the hole? Okay, what does that mean? That don't mean nothing. Okay, can everybody see that? This includes counties, cities, towns, villages, fire districts, school districts. Next is the tolls from tunnels and bridges, but fewer people are commuting to work. Well, how will it about city-owned colleges? Fewer people are returning to colleges. Well, how about property taxes? More people are defaulting on their properties. What reason will people have to go back to NYC? What reason? Okay. He says, I love my life in New York City. I have friends all over New York, people I've known for decades. I could go out of my apartment, cross the street, and there was a comedy club. I could go up on stage and perform. I could go for a few minutes by Uber and meet with anyone, or go play ping pong, or go to the movies, or go on a podcast, and people traveling through could come on my podcast. I love that. That's fun. I can go out for a night to my favorite restaurants and see my favorite performers perform. I can go to the park. I can play chess. I see friends. I can take advantage of all the wonderful city has to offer. No more. Oh, that's a sad little picture there. Okay, what are y'all saying in here? Let me check it out. I just read a report of an actress slashed at an outdoor cafe in Manhattan. The suspect looked like one of those crazies. Uh-oh. I was annoyed with my internet connection. I was straight up and just said, I pay a lot on time, mess with the people not paying their bill. I have to say my internet is better. Speaking of Zoom meetings, could someone please make a video on etiquette? I'm real tired of coworkers showing off, kissing pets, cursing at homeschool children, includes little. Wait, hold on. Who's doing that? Hold on a second. Let me close this out. Do you see what she just said? Y'all, please read that. That's hilarious to me. Speaking of Zoom etiquette, can someone please make a video? I'm tired of coworkers showing off / kissing pets. What are they showing off? Cursing at homeschool children. This includes millennial managers. Wow. I started driving a semi 16 years ago. 2 bedrooms cost $900 a month. I don't know now. Listen, you can get $900. It just depends. Oh, look at that. Zoom certifications. I wonder how many New Yorkers bought Timberland boots with their stimulus. Y'all ain't right. Y'all ain't right. Yes, my daughter was doing Zoom in the school, and the time of day made a difference in quality of video. I believe it. Sharon J, congrats. They saved some money this year. I flew to New York once a month to see family and friends, and it just doesn't make any sense to stay there. I actually get more done up there not living there. I enjoy it more by not dealing with day to day. Wow. That's crazy. Yes, this is true. Uh-oh. Asian community in Queens were protesting the fair housing laws for landlords. They're about to leave the city. Oh, I would love to read some articles on that. I think that would be interesting. Oh, I believe it. Anyway, you guys, so what are some things I may have missed in my discussion of this article? I may have missed in my assessment. Feel free to let me know. I would love to speak on that. Listen, expat home, this is very true. They don't, they know that's where the money is, okay? I saw where people super chatted, but I can't seem to go back to it. This thing is messed up. Anyway, part of my thoughts is the best part of that whole article was the graph showing where people moved. If you are a person who is saying, Erica, you done showed me this, you bash New York or whatever you want to call it for an hour, what should I be doing? If you are a person who wanted to invest in real estate in those particular cities, especially rentals, you may say, well, Erica, I'm paying too much for the rental. I would definitely relook at the numbers a couple times. You're going to get your money in long-term rental income. Prime example, our next, one of the cousins my property owned, the lady from New York lived there for 15 years. She came down south so her mother could be at home near her southern family members because she was in a hospice state. Stayed for almost 15 years, and at the end of 15 years was like, well, I'm gonna go back to New York. You won't let me buy this house, so I'm gonna go back to New York. And he's like, that doesn't even make any sense what you're saying. The house is 30 grand. If you sorry, I'm not laughing at her, but she was like, I'm going back to New York. So she was going back. So neighbors across the street, they've been renting a house for 20 years. I thought it was the house they own, the 20 across the street from my mother. And because they take such good care of it, they paint it, they do all this stuff. Kind of find out they've been renting it for 20 years. He said we tried to buy it lump sum cash with my pension from the current landlords. They won't sell. So we're going to go back to New York. So my mom, and this is 2 years ago, and they're still there. So apparently that's just a threat. They're going to go back to New York. I'm pretty sure what happens is they went out and heard the prices and were like, bump that. So anyways, a lot of what we're seeing here is emotional. You guys are right. There is a lot of family ties that people will come back to, but to be near family and it's gonna cost you thousands and thousands of dollars so that you can't even breathe. Nah, ain't nobody love family that much. There's a lot of thoughts I have on this, but what I will say is if you're all roads lead to real estate, and if you're anywhere in the marketplace of owning real estate in those top cities we talked about, Austin, Dallas, Houston, Raleigh, Charlotte, Nashville, Chattanooga, Tennessee, your girl is trying to find a way to get her foot in Chattanooga. Now I found a builder out there. There are certain areas where people are moving. They're moving, they're relocating to, and they will rent for 5-10 years because it's so much more cheaper than where they were up north. So anyway. But anyways, you guys, that's what I had for y'all today. Thank you for being here. Good luck out there. Stay safe in these New York streets. Stay safe in these Cali streets. But the fall, you got 140 days, I think, to the end of the year. Whatever you were planning on doing, baby, now's the time. Now's the time to put it in motion, to put it in gear. I know people are promising you big discounts on real estate properties. People I'm in real estate groups are already mastermind planning for February, March, April, May, June. They've already got plans. So there you go. All my family moved down south years ago. I'm the only one left in Connecticut. Planning on moving to the Triangle in North Carolina. Congrats. Congrats. The chat room was litty. I'm glad the chat room was lit, you guys. I hope you enjoyed conversating with each other. You guys have a wonderful evening. Plan accordingly, you guys. Buy land. If you're in the South, buy land. Good luck.